Hello everyone, and welcome back to the final episode of our Beastmen campaign. Now, last episode saw us destroy the remnants of the Imperial forces, albeit not entirely by our own hand as other factions got involved. But if we go down to the objectives and go to our short campaign objectives, you can see that the only one we got left, after we get to the bottom, is to win the following battle, the Fall of Man. Now, it's a quest battle, never fought it before, but I'm curious to see what it's going to be about. So, normally we need to pick an army. I feel it's quite fitting that we have Molokh Slugtongue, our factional leader, lead the assault. So, give you a second. There we go. If we go to this, you can see we can spend some of our favour to actually teleport. So, we don't have to rush to where it is, but we have to win the following battle, the Fall of Man. The Dark Gods are pleased. Mankind is ravaged. They have been taunted, hunted, and broken by the children of chaos. The land is ripe for an even greater invasion, for other followers of the ruinous powers to make their mark, as paltry as it would be compared to the triumphs of the Cloven Ones. Yet there remains defiance. The armies of Manfilth muster as one, refusing the inevitable. No matter, this is but another opportunity for the Beastmen to prove themselves the most worthy of the Dark Power's servants. Find this gathering of might and ensure the fall of man. So, let's have a look who we're going to be facing. We are going to be facing Calfans. No doubt he's going to be on Deathclaw. But the rest of the army itself is nothing really for me to worry about. They've got a couple of Demigryph Knights, admittedly, and Empire Knights and Outriders. But we've smashed armies like this before easily, and in fact the balance bar is massively in my favour. The only thing is, I don't know what reinforcements we're going to expect in this fight, so let's just find out, I guess. Yes, I want to teleport. Let's jump over. Oh. So we're not actually just fighting Calfans, we're fighting Leon Kerr as well. So he's obviously on his Hippogriff Bequest. And, oh god, we're going to be fighting bloody Grail Knights. Oh, that'll be annoying. But they only have some trebuchets. They've got Knights of the Realm. Is that it? Yeah. Wait a minute. What? We've got an entire army coming in as reinforcements. They've got Beastigores, they've got Gores, they've got Minotaurs, Chaos Spore, and Cygors. And you can look and see how well experienced all my army is. That's going to be such an easy fight. I mean, it says close victory, but I was surprised if we don't make this a decisive one. But let's fight the battle and see what happens. Well, guys and girls, here we are on the battlefield. Now, here's my army, and if I go right up here, there's the enemy army. I decided to take advantage of the Vanguard deployment to set up my entire army right up close and personal with the forces of Betonia. Now, a couple of them weren't able to get into position thanks to lack of Vanguard deployment, so we've got Galax Stoneheart and Fodant over here, as well as for Vorpadonis, my Jabberslave, Man-Eaters, making their way across the battlefield as quickly as they can. You can see over here the forces of Kazrak One-Eye, but yeah, I've got most of my forces then deployed along here, all my Beastigores, my Gores, and so on. We've got Molokh leading the advance from behind, 2 units of Pestigores just to add a second wave to deal with the enemy's cavalry, and over on this side, I've got my units of Pestigores that were originally supposed to be making their way around this way, but for some reason they're going a different direction. Oh, and over here on the far left, I got my 2 units of Centaurs who are going to be going after the enemy's field trebuchets. And on this side, I've got my Ungor Raiders who are going to go after this trebuchet. So, if we speed things up a little bit, you can see the initial charge coming through. I've got Molokh just unleashing spells every chance I get, trying to do what damage he can. Like here, we've got his unique one, Lord of the Black Harvest. A Vile Tide bursting away. We've got all sorts going on, just in order to try and do as much early damage to them as we can. Now, this particular time, there's a notification pops up saying that enemy reinforcements are coming in. And you can see on the mini-map, if I slow things back down again, that all the way over here, the forces of, well, the Empire are making their way onto the battlefield. So we've got lots of knights, lots of demigryphs, Calfans up on Deathclaw, as well as great swords, the Hellstorm rocket batteries. But it was in my best interest to go after the Bretonnians as quickly as I can. So, while they're going to be rushing around trying to get into position, I do have Galak and Verdant making their way up to join in with the fight. We've got 4 Padonis over here. The Man-Eaters are just behind him. And I was actually trying to figure out where to go after for Leon Kerr. As you can see, he's stayed out of the battle for the most part, as the peasants and a lot of the cavalry are taking damage across the board. We've already got 1 unit running away over here from Grail Knights. These guys are getting into position. And if I speed things up a little bit, Molokh is slowly making his way up and to join into the battle, and Leon Kerr charges Beastmen down to go and engage him, sending him flying away. Now, that actually worked out kind of well for me, because as he's fighting Leon Kerr, he's getting knocked down every time, so as he gets knocked down, it means that he can't take damage, and it allows me to send Galak in, who just headbutts him and sends him pushed back. And look at that damage with his axe. Leon Kerr is in a lot of trouble here, especially when the Man-Eaters come in to reinforce. Now, if we go and show you the rest of the battle, you can see things aren't going too well for the forces of Bretonnia. The raiders are just taking shots at the Knights of the Realm, as well as the Trebuchets. Everywhere else is basically either retreating or just about hanging on in there. Grail Knights are losing decisively to just standard Gauls, which was really, really cool to see. Over on the far side over here, you can see the Trebuchet and some Grail Knights are still fighting all my forces, but they're not going to be able to do much against them. The Gauls here have taken some damage, which was a bit surprising, but on the whole, I think we were doing just fine, especially what we were going up against. You can see this Grail Knight just getting shoved down to the ground and killed, and that one's then flying away by the combination of our Gauls. Now, the enemy did bring in more reinforcements. You can see over here that they brought in a whole bunch of Pegasus Knights, which was a bit of a surprise when the battle first started. I'm trying to realize now, because it says here that there's, Louis d'Outre-mer. I didn't even realize there was an enemy hero. He didn't make much of an impact in the battle anyway. But you can see he's brought a whole bunch of knights from Paravon. And they're trying to come in to rescue their king, but it's not good enough. Already you can see Leon Kerr has been battered and beaten down to the ground. Beastmen, fighting to the very last breath, but it's not going to be enough to deal with Verdant and Galak. So, at this particular point now, if I bring the game back to normal, you can see, looking around, we've basically finished off the Bretonnians. Now, I figured to myself, what I wanted to do was try and get into a position so we weren't going to get blasted too much by the enemy's rocket batteries. So, once we finished off the situation over here, we got my Twisted Corpses charging in to go with the Grail Knights from behind, and luckily for me, they have already broken, thanks to the Leon Kerr being wounded as quickly as he was. But, as you can see, the enemy are getting closer and closer into position, and the Hellstorm rocket batteries have got really, really good range. So what I figured I'd try and do was originally set up my Pestigors in this patch of woodlands, because I wanted to try and engage the enemy without them getting shot at. But it's not going to work too well. You can just see why then a rock coming from my Cygor that I summoned onto the battlefield with Moloch's ability. But yeah, we sent the Pestigors in. Unfortunately, it's still going to allow the rockets to shoot up, aiming at this unit mainly. Luckily, they're not that accurate. Between my high health and my regeneration, I'm not too concerned about it, although the game isn't holding on as well as I would have liked, maybe because of everything going on. There's still that occasional bit of stutter, isn't there? But, realizing then that my troops were just going to get shot at if I just stood around where they were, I decided to try and pull some of them back here. So you can see some of them are going into position over here. Others are going to originally come over here before I realized, well, there's no point. If I actually zoom down here a second, just to showcase, you can see that the Pegasus went after my allies, which was fine by me, but I figured I would send some help in. So Galak here is here as well as Verdant, just to do as much damage as they can against them. We're going to be able to do quite a lot. The Pegasus are not really going to be able to hold against Chaos Spawn, my two really powerful heroes, and the Beastigors. They had also tried to go after some of my units, like there was a couple of them around here, But we managed to scare them off thanks to Vorpadonis, as well as the raiders, so all in all, they really didn't do much for the battle here. The enemy are bringing in their Centaurs as well to try and help. You can see that the two sides are about to join and clash here. What I also did over here then is I sent my two Centaur units to hide in the trees around this section before swinging them around while the enemy was advancing, so we can try and go after the Hellstorm rocket batteries before they do too much damage. And as for here, you can see the enemy's got a lot of missile units. They are taking shots on my troops, and they are doing a little bit of damage here and there, despite the fact that my people have shields. So I figured, rather than stand around and get shot at, I'm just going to charge them down the hill as quickly as we could. So the Pestigors are leading the charge on this side. We've got our Gors and that over on this side. Over here, we've got the creatures like the Vorpadonis. We've got our man-eaters somewhere around here. We've got even more units charging down here, courtesy of my ally. So, yeah, we're going to be going after the forces of the Empire with everything we've got. You can see back here that one rocket battery has already been destroyed. The other one has started to retreat. There goes another Cygor shot, unfortunately hitting that tree just then. But there's still some more of them, you can see here. Another rocket battery firing away, doing some damage against the Pestigors. But luckily for me, not as much as it could have done. And already we're breaking through the enemy's lines here. So we'll be able to reinforce our position soon enough. Another rock actually making its way down there this time. And unfortunately for me, this is where my units of Centaurs took some damage. Because you can see over here, we've got Demigryph Knights coming in on one side and charging after them. Got some great swords going after them as well, but they do hold their own, surprisingly, against such a strong force as that. Now, what I was curious to try and spot is actually find Karl Franz, because he was on the battlefield, but I can't see where he's got to. Is he over here somewhere? Where is he? I know he's definitely around because we were ended up fighting him with my heroes. I didn't want to risk Slugtongue, so I figured I'll keep him back here buffing up with spells and going after enemies when we can. But Karl Franz must be around here somewhere. One second. Well. Is that him here? No, that's Outriders. Empire Knights? Minotaurs? Galax Stoneball is right there. Is that him here, maybe? Let's have a look-see. Yes, it is. Right. So he, rather unfortunately, decided to try and go after my heroes. Now, Galak is just a monster in close combat, and he was able to make very short work of Karl Franz. I was hoping to try and kill him off. As you can see, he can unleash the Wind Blast from, what's his weapon again? The Mumasa Blade? But unfortunately for me, it wasn't enough to kill Franz, but it was enough to make him shatter completely. And with that, the enemy have not got much time left on the map. We're slicing them down every time we get into melee. You can see it for Vorpadonis charging in, and Vorpadonis charging in to try and do some damage here and there. Everybody else is just either running away or just waiting for me to kill them so they start running away. And very quickly, it's going to swing in my favor. You can see already the enemy's numbers are jumping down as they start to shatter. And just like that, we have won the battle. There's no point chasing after the enemy, given that there's only, well, this battle we needed to do, and it doesn't matter about the survivors. So, there we have it. A decisive victory for the Cloven Ones. With that, the campaign's going to be over, and I shall see you guys back on the campaign map, where we can check out our statistics and see how we did in this campaign. So there we have it. Decisive victory. Barely any losses on our side. In fact, yeah, I think we did okay. My Centaurs took a bit of a bash, that's because they decided to charge into Demigryphs. But, yeah, we did pretty fine, I think. So, in return, I think we might as well celebrate and eat them. We'll eat the captives. And with that, when the game tells me, here we go. Short campaign victory. We picked up 2 achievements, Blood Grounds Everywhere, and Realm of the something. Missed that out. Damn. But you can actually see as well the events. Jesus Christ, there's going to be a lot of them. Do I really need to read through this? No. You guys can see it here. But, in fact, if I can speed through, You really just see the development of the game. Not that it really matters. The main thing I enjoyed looking at is the statistics. So you can see here, we managed to last 127 turns. We held 17 settlements at most, captured 26, but we did lose a bunch of them, if you remember. Didn't have to worry about pirate coves. We held 1 province at most. Yeah, that makes sense. Done all the technologies, completed 7 missions, got 302 buildings. What did we get? We encountered 105 factions. Destroyed only 5. Wow, I actually thought that was more. But then I suppose that's taken into account the entire map. So, all the factions over in Lustria, over in Nagarond, over in the Badlands and things like that. But yeah, 105, we only destroyed 5. 10 current wars, 18 at most. We had 167 war declarations. Wow. 4 allies at most. We made a maximum absolute ton of money. Most of it from sacking. We spent a lot of it as well, not surprisingly. 8 armies, 4 lords recruited, 164. We killed 164 enemy lords. Wow. We destroyed 3,063 units. But look at how many we lost, apparently 272. That can't be right. No, that can't be right. Huh. Okay, sure. But we did fight 220 battles, only 36 of which we fought personally. Apparently 21 of them were land battles? Okay, that don't make sense. Oh yeah, I suppose when you take into account the minor settlements. But there we go, 208 total victories. We got 3 heroic victories, 4 subterranean intercepts. We only lost 12 times. Most of which were due to minor settlements. So these were when my my herd stones were being attacked. Those are the ones we lost. But we only lost 1 time when it was actually an army being destroyed. Fair enough. Raised 94 settlements, killed 4,000 captives at 9,782. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm pretty happy with that. I think we can go back to the campaign map. Yeah. So that's the end of the Beastmen campaign, and I have to say I really did enjoy it. I feel with the new mechanics that were introduced with the update for the Beastmen really have helped things out quite a bit, especially with being able to sort out blood grounds and things like that. I do feel that they could have maybe improved a little bit more on certain bits and pieces. Like, I do feel, as I think it was Alval Real mentioned about it in the comments of the previous video, that they could have done something a bit more fun with the blood grounds, rather than as it was. But, I don't know, I feel they could have just improved a little bit here and there, but for the whole, I must say I enjoyed the campaign immensely. I thought the new system with the dread and being able to upgrade your armies and stuff like that was really good. Yeah, it was just very enjoyable, I must say. Now, with Warhammer 3 coming out in 2.5 months approximately, or yeah, about 2 months or so, it's not maybe the best idea to go into a big campaign right now. So I might take the opportunity to try out a game which isn't Warhammer, just until Warhammer 3 comes out. So maybe we'll continue with the Western Roman Empire, but we'll try with something maybe like Sins of a Solar Empire as well, because it's been a little while since I checked out the Star Trek Armada 3 mod, and since I last played it, it's now been completely finished. It's all done. So that could be kind of cool to check out. Or I could do something like Homeworld, or there's just so many games I couldn't mind giving a go. So yeah, we'll see what happens. In the meantime though guys, thank you for watching this episode, and I hope you enjoyed the series. Check out other content on the channel if you haven't checked it out already. Otherwise, I hope you guys join me in the next series. But until then everybody, take care, and goodbye for now.